In this video, I'm going to share 10 powerful hacks to retrain your brain out of chronic pain and illness. These are the exact strategies I use with my clients in my therapy practice and digital course to heal their chronic symptoms, calm their nervous system, and get them back to living full lives. If you're ready to start healing your chronic pain and illness using a brain-based approach, you need to start using these 10 hacks every single day. Let's dive in. Number 1, remember the cure is safety. When we start to use a brain-based approach, and maybe you're diving into my channel and you're looking at all the practices and strategies, people fall into the trap of using them to try to reduce or eliminate their symptoms as fast as possible. And if you do that, it's going to create a lot of danger and pressure, and it's going to prevent you from making progress. So you have to remember the goal in this healing work is to create safety in your brain and nervous system. If you can do that over time, your symptoms will naturally start to reduce. So make the goal safety. Number 2, show and tell. You need to show and tell your brain that it's safe. So how do we show your brain it's safe? We do the embodiment practices that I have on this channel where you're intentionally dropping into your body towards unpleasant sensations. This could be pain, symptoms, emotions, or nervous system state. By approaching the unpleasant sensations and creating curiosity, compassion, and safety with them, it is a clear safety signal to your brain. You also want to be doing graded exposure, where you're starting to approach movements, activities, and positions that you have once feared and for a long time probably avoided. You got to do the graded exposure work to really show to your brain that you are safe to be doing this. Each day, you also want to be telling your brain that it's safe. This is the safe self-talk. You're telling your brain that your body is healthy, capable, and resilient, and that you are able to heal. If you want a free, safe self-talk meditation, I'll put the link down below in the description of this video for that. And you can start to use that to tell your brain consistently each day, hey, my body's okay. These sensations are temporary. I'm going to heal from this. Number 3, allow dysregulation. When people come to understand that their chronic pain and illness is caused by their brain and nervous system being stuck in danger mode and dysregulation, what will happen is they'll start trying to resist dysregulation when it comes up. Fight, flight, fawn, freeze, shut down. People try to push it away and force calmness. But if you do that, it's actually going to create more danger in your brain and nervous system. The way that we create long-lasting safety in our nervous system is by allowing dysregulation. So say you're feeling anxious, allowing yourself to go in your body, create safety with the sensation, approach it, and be with it. This is a vital part of healing. Number 4, get those reps in. My partner, Anne, her favorite word to use with clients is consistency. And I get why. Because we need to be very consistent in doing the brain retraining work and nervous system regulation work. If you're only doing this a couple of times a week, it'll probably take you 50 years to heal. We got to get those reps in. So I have lots of practices on my channel. Starting to use them a couple times a day puts you in a great position to get what I call healing wins. Now, a healing win isn't that your pain and symptom just goes away in the moment as you're tracking it. The healing win is you feel 2% safer inside, 2% calmer. You feel like you can accept and allow what you feel within. A healing win is maybe you approach activities a little bit more even though they're fearful. And you stack up these healing wins over time. That's what's going to ultimately help you heal your chronic pain and symptoms. You're not going to heal from one epic healing moment. You got to get those reps in. Number 5, you're special, but not that special. When a flare-up happens, but you're not seeing progress, we start to go into negative thinking. Maybe I'm the exception. Maybe other people can heal, but I just can't. Maybe my nervous system's not resilient enough to get this. So people start to think they're special and the exception, and that this brain-based approach just isn't going to click for them or work for them. I want you to know that healing takes time. It is really rare that I'm working with someone where they're healing in a month. For me, for example, it took about 8 or 9 months. Healing takes time. Your system has become so sensitized over time to produce chronic pain and symptoms. And so to desensitize it, to retrain your brain, to regulate your nervous system, that's going to take small, consistent steps. So if you're in a flare-up right now, or if you're just feeling stalled out, keep going, keep getting those reps in. Number 6, rewrite every rule. At my clinic, we talk about the pain or symptom rulebook. This is a set of rules that you have created to protect yourself from your pain and symptoms getting worse. They can be things you do or don't do. So a great example of this, when I was in pain, I had a massive rule book. Don't walk more than 10 minutes. Don't eat gluten. I need to stretch every night for 20 minutes or else. I need to use my heating pad for 10 minutes right before bed or I'm going to wake up in pain. So I started to develop all these rules. The problem with the rule book that people develop is often the rules are incorrect and they're going to shrink your world really small through avoidance. It's going to make it really small and it's actually going to increase the level of danger in your brain and nervous system. So this is where graded exposure comes in. We need to slowly start to break the rules. So for example, my rule of don't walk more than 10 minutes, I had to slowly start to increase my walking. And I know this is scary, but it can be really effective over time if we do it slowly, gently, and compassionately. I have a whole video of how to go bedbound to fully moving. It outlines all the steps you need to start to rewrite the rules and get back to living more full and completely. Now there's no activity that I avoid. I can walk for hours upon hours and not have pain. I believe that you can do this too. So I'll put that video link down below. If you want a step-by-step of how to start to break these rules and do graded exposure, be sure to watch that. Number 7, be mindful of control. You cannot completely control your pain or symptom levels when you have a pain or symptom flare, the stressors in your life, how other people view you, or how long healing is going to take. You can't perfectly control that stuff. And when people are trying to excessively control these elements that are out of their control, it's going to increase frustration and this fight energy that's going to worsen your symptoms over time. But we can control certain things, and we want to be really focused in on the things that we can control. We can control catching our dysregulated response to our pain or symptom. Again, fight, flight, fawn, freeze, shutdown. Become really aware when that happens, and you can control what strategies you start to use when you have this dysregulated response. Use the safety signal practices, breath work, somatic touch, tapping or massage. You can use embodiment practices. You can shift your attention away from your pain and symptoms, create indifference with it, and focus more on elements of your life or doing a pleasurable, enjoyable activity. So it's really vital to understand what you can't control and what you can control. And you want to focus on what elements you actually have control of. Number 8, it's not just one technique. When people come to a brain-based approach, they can make it a little too simplistic. And I get why. As human beings, we like when things are very simple. Everyone likes that. But as a human being, you're complex. So your healing is going to be complex. I've heard so many stories where people did one brain retraining practice, one way, that exact way each and every time for 3 months. That's all they did, and they didn't see progress. And then they felt really frustrated or gave up. And the issue isn't that that one practice wasn't helpful, it's just not the full picture. I've never seen one person heal from just using one technique. When I'm working with people, we focus on 5 areas: changing thoughts and beliefs about our body and our symptoms, brain retraining and graded exposure, nervous system regulation, processing trauma, and creating social safety. The reason I focus on these 5 areas is I've come to understand in doing this work with people for many years that you're complex and your healings needs to be complex and probably different than other people's healing. So if you're just focusing on one technique, you're not seeing results, start to explore the other content on my channel so you can make your healing a little bit more complex and a little bit more robust. Number 9, don't revert to old ways. As people start to heal their chronic pain and symptoms, their symptom levels are starting to drop down, which is a beautiful thing. So many people start to revert back to old patterns: perfectionism, high intensity, people pleasing, low intensity, being shut out from the world, not taking care of their own needs, and not focusing on things that bring them value and meaning in life. All of these ways of coping were likely part of the reason you developed chronic pain and symptoms in the first place. I had to be really careful with this. As I started to heal my chronic pain and symptoms, I felt that urge to become intense guy again, like just pushing, trying to succeed, never honoring my own values and needs. And every time I pushed that line, my symptoms would start to pop back up again. So you can't revert back to who you were before you had pain and symptoms. So make sure you're watching out for this. And finally, number 10, normalize flare-ups. Flare-ups suck. Let's just be honest about that. Pain or symptom flare-ups can be very dysregulating. They can be very disheartening, and we feel like we're failing at the healing work. I want you to know I have never seen one person go from debilitating chronic pain and symptoms to fully healed without having many flare-ups along the way. I want to normalize for you all that flare-ups are part of this process. Alan Gordon talks about, the creator of pain reprocessing therapy. He talks about how pain and symptoms don't go down without a fight. Your pain and symptoms have been reinforced in the brain by fear, frustration, despair, annoyance, anger, avoidance for so long that they aren't going to go down without a fight. So you're going to have some flare-ups along the way. Flare-ups are just a sign that we need to keep going with the brain retraining work, and we need to keep regulating our nervous system. I like to tell people, when you have a flare-up, do these 3 things. First, ask, why is my flare-up happening? Is there stress or difficult emotions right now? Is it just a learned response, like my brain learned walking is dangerous, so it's triggering a flare-up? Or is it just that I've pushed the exposure work too far? So maybe you're pushing along, you're trying to get back to the gym, and you just go a little too fast. But ask, why is my flare-up here? Second, practice dropping in and describing behind your pain and symptom what's going on with my nervous system state, emotions, and negative thinking. And then finally, once you've done these first 2 steps, the third step is shift back to safety. When we have a flare-up, usually the pain and symptoms just too intense. So we might need to use some strategic avoidance, like lie in a dark room, have a warm bath, or we might need to use some type of safety signal such as breath work, safe self-talk, or visualization. Or maybe you need to just refocus on living life and do something kind for yourself. Go to your favorite coffee shop, have your favorite muffin, favorite latte, whatever it might be. But this is it. When you have a flare-up, you want to ask why it's there. You want to drop in and describe what's going on behind the flare-up, and then you want to shift back to safety. But please know that flare-ups are very normal and they are a part of this process. So I hope this video is helpful. If you need extra support in your healing, I have 2 agencies that can support you. I have a therapy practice named Pain Psychotherapy Canada. We are Canadian based and able to work with clients located in most provinces in Canada. I've trained and supervised all the therapists on my team to ensure we're offering a really solid, supportive service. My second agency has a digital course, which includes over 10 hours of educational videos, over 60 brain retraining and somatic practices, and over 30 worksheets and self-assessment tools. And in that digital course, we also do monthly Q&As to support the people that are taking it. So I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.